Members of state and local, if you would, take your seats and go ahead and sign in to your consoles. We have a quorum, don't we? I think. Got a quorum? We have a quorum? All right. Members, will you please take your seats? Is everybody ready? Members, if you'll please take your seats and sign into your consoles. Good afternoon. Today is Wednesday, February the 18th, 2026. I hereby call State and Local Government Committee to order. Madam Clerk, you will please open the board for roll call. Give you a few more minutes to get your buttons on. Madam Clerk, please close the board and announce the call.
Mr. Chairman, you have 23 members present. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Do any of the members have any announcements or personal orders? The chair will take privilege. I do have some guests with me today. I have 4 members of the leadership of Bristol, Tennessee that's come down to see me today, and they're in the audience. So if you guys will please stand up, we'll make you feel welcome. Any other announcements or personal orders? Seeing none, today we have 31 bills on the calendar, and we will try our best to complete our calendar, but sometimes some of these issues take a few minutes, and we may end up having to roll those to the next calendar. So at this time, I'm going to recognize House Joint Resolution 0877 by Leader Camper. Got a proper motion and second. Leader Camper, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, I'd like to just introduce the governor's minority appointment to the Ethics Board, Mr. Dewey Brandsetter Jr. He's here in the audience. He is a partner at Sherrod Rowe in Nashville. He served on numerous committees and councils and nonprofit organizations over his lifetime. He was Nashville's Lawyer of the Year, Best Lawyers in America in 2011, 12, and 19. Served 11 years on the Metro Council School Board. He was director of the Nashville Bar Association, has done such great work on lots of civic boards throughout the state of Tennessee.
Thank you, sponsor, for that introduction. Chairman Moon, do you have go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Move previous question on the resolution.
Well, before we do that, we do have Dewey with us today, and he'd like to introduce himself to the committee. Will you withdraw?
I withdraw, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Without objection, we're going to go out of session. We're out of session. Dewey, if you'll make your way up, have a seat. We will control your microphone and just give us your name, and you're more than welcome to.
It's probably
Introduce
good
yourself.
that you control my microphone.
That's-
So I'm Dewey Brandstetter. I'm native Nashvilleian, practiced law for coming up on 45 years. I was asked by the governor if I'd be willing to serve as the minority party representative on the Ethics Commission, which I was glad to do. Bill Young, who I know all of you know, and I were classmates in law school. And when they told me I had the opportunity to be Bill Young's boss, I couldn't turn it down. But in all seriousness, this is something that I have an interest in. I've represented a number of governmental entities throughout my legal career. I've written a lot of ethics policies. I've written ethics policies for nonprofit entities, even for some public entities. So I have more than a passing understanding of ethics requirements, and I'm looking forward to volunteering and serving in this commission if y'all see fit to confirm the nomination.
Well, a couple of questions for you, but I do want to thank Bill Young for being here today. We wear you out, I'm sure, on cell phone calls, but anyway, good to have you here in state and local. Representative Mitchell.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I just want to add that Mr. Brandstetter is of the highest integrity and character. We couldn't ask for a better representative for either party on this commission. Known him and his family for years. Mr. Brandstetter grew up in my district, and his family is highly regarded in the area. And, his father was one of the founders of Metro government. So I appreciate all that he and his family have done for this city.
Thank you.
Representative Powell.
Thank you. I just want to echo some of those sentiments. Great to see you up here, Mr. Brandstetter. Know you'd be a wonderful addition. Appreciate all your contributions over the years to Nashville and the state of Tennessee. And we appreciate your willingness to serve.
Without objection, we'll go back in session, and I recognize Chairman Moon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Move previous question on.
Previous questions been called. We're ready to vote on House Joint Resolution 0877. Moving on to calendar and rules. Madam Clerk, you'll open the board for voting. Please vote yes if you're for, no if you're against. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, you close the board and announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 22 ayes and 0 noes.
Bill moves on to calendar and rules. Thank you, Leader. Next on our list is House Bill 1453 by Leader Lamberth. Got a proper motion and second. Leader Lamberth, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a private act for the city of Portland.
See anybody, you've heard the explanation of the sponsor. Any questions? Representative McCalman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Move previous question.
Previous question's been called. We're ready to vote on House Bill 1453. Moving on to calendar and rules. All those in favor, please vote yes on the board or no on the board. Madam Clerk, open the board for voting. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, close the board and announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 22 ayes and 0 noes.
Okay. Bill moves on to calendar and rules. Item number 3 on today's agenda, House Bill 1502 by Leader Lamberth. Proper motion and second. Leader Lamberth, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. This comes from Tennessee Corrections Institute at their request to update their statute to better fit with their practices as they conduct their business today. I stand ready for questions.
You've heard the explanation of the sponsor. Is there any questions? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. So all those in favor, please vote yes on the board. If you're opposed, vote no. Madam Clerk, open the board for voting. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, close the board, announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 21 ayes and 0 noes.
Bill moves on to judiciary. Next on today's list is House Bill 1504 by Leader Lamberth. Proper motion and second. Leader Lamberth, I do see we have some drafting codes. Which one are we running?
Mr. Chairman, if we could, Amendment Code 013566 should combine both of the amendments that were initially filed in the subcommittee. We had passed one of those amendments, but had not passed the other one. This one actually combines both of those together.
Would you like for us to place the amendment on the bill to be discussed?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, if you wouldn't mind.
We've got a proper motion and second on the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Opposed? It's on the amendments on the bill. You're recognized on your bills amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. This bill literally just lays out what our Capitol Hill Protection Zone is. It allows them to continue to use the same personnel that they're using right now, which is a combination of post-certified officers and security guards that are hired to protect this area where all of our constituents come and visit and where we work and our staff works and where we serve the people of this state. It doesn't change anything other than the fact that we've never recognized what that zone is. If you go to DC to the Capitol, you feel very clearly when you step into the Capitol Hill zone. When you go to most other state capitals, there's really you can tell when you're kind of within that core of their Capitol Hill. We just don't have that here. So this would line it out. And again, doesn't change anything else other than recognizing that at this time.
All right, you've heard the explanation of the sponsor. Is there any questions? I got to go with who was first on the list, and that is Chairman White. Right, you were on the list first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was going to move previous question.
Previous question's been called. Is there any objection? All right, we will now be voting on the objection to the question. Madam Clerk, open the board for voting. If you are in favor of the previous question, vote yes. If you're opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Enough. Audience, if you speak out and you disturb where we can't do our work, I will ask you to leave. All right. Yeah. Clerk, Madam Clerk, announce your vote again.
Mr. Chairman, you have 16 ayes and 6 noes.
Previous question is on the board now. We're voting on moving House Bill 1504 to calendar and rules. All those in favor, please vote yes on the board. Those opposed, vote no. Madam Clerk, open the board. Y'all can blame it on me. I don't care. He was first on the list. Madam Clerk, close the board and announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 17 ayes and 5 noes.
Bill moves on to calendar and rules. Representative Salinas, you are recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. If someone signs up to testify, what is the procedure? What are the rules? Because I thought that we would hear them before any vote takes place.
I don't have anybody to testify on this bill. I'm sorry.
I just want it on the record what the procedure is.
You have to fill
So-
out the card. I can't remember what it's called, but you got to fill out a card and get permission.
Right. No, I know that. But is it, so you can skip witnesses and go straight to a vote? That's the
If the
clarification.
question's
question.
called, it's a non-debatable motion, so have to deal with that first.
Yeah.
All right, orders of the day. Where are we at? 4? Okay. We're now on item 5, House Bill 1633 by Leader Lamberth. Okay, Representative Bricken's going to run this bill from the diocese, so go ahead, Chairman Bricken, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill comes from the Finance and Administration Department. It's as straightforward as it comes. It just puts in the code what they're currently practicing to be sure bank information is kept confidential. And that's what it does.
You've heard the explanation of the sponsor. Is there any questions for the sponsor? Representative Powell.
So let's say there was a financial impropriety and somebody wanted to do a Freedom of Information Act into looking at bank records. Would this then exclude those records from being made public?
Representative Bricken, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not positive how, if I think under the Freedom of Information Act, the department would respond under the Freedom of Information Act rules to either provide that information unless the rules said they didn't have to. So I'm not sure if I'm answering it clearly enough, but that's the best I can do.
Representative Powell.
Chairman, can we go out of session, ask legal, please? If that's okay with the sponsor.
Without objection, we will go out of session to hear from legal. Out of session. Legal, you're recognized.
Thank you. Representative Powell, do you mind repeating your question?
So under this bill, if passed, it says certain bank information held by the state is confidential. If bank information was subject to a FOIA request, say somebody wanted to look at the dealings that somebody might have had, I don't know, there's a lot of hypotheticals here. Is this bill closing the abilities for entities to do FOIA requests?
Legal, you're recognized.
Thank you. These records would be confidential under the Public Records Act. If there was some kind of financial impropriety and law enforcement was involved, they could issue a subpoena or get a court order for the records.
Representative Powell.
Follow up, is that the current rule or is this, with this bill being placed, is that going to change that?
Legal?
That's how the Public Records Act works currently
Thank you.
when it comes to the things that we specify as confidential.
Any other questions from the committee for legal? Seeing none, we'll go back in session. We're back in session. And any other questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor of House Bill 1633, please vote yes on the board. Those opposed, vote no. Madam Clerk, open the board for voting. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, close the board, announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 18 ayes and 4 noes.
Bill moves on to calendar and rules. Item number 6 today, House Bill 1629. And who's going to run this one? Chairman Faison. Chairman Faison, you are recognized on House Bill 1629.
Good afternoon, committee. Certainly good to be with you. This is a simple bill for Tennessee to make Tennessee remember and celebrate Songwriting Month for the month of February.
Members, you've heard the explanation of the sponsor. Any questions for the sponsor? Seeing none. Oh, Representative Mitchell.
Mr. Chairman, have you ever wrote a song?
Chairman Faison.
Actually, thank you, Mr. Chair. Dr. Mitchell, I have written many songs, and if you swing by the office when we get done, I'll play one that I wrote for you.
Representative Mitchell.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, I'm glad you were honest and were willing to answer questions before this committee and be able to speak to the public even about your songwriting. Thank you.
Out of order. Any other questions for Representative Faison? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor of House Bill 1629, moving on to calendar rolls, please vote yes on the board. Opposed, no. Madam Clerk, open the board for voting. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, close the board, announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 21 ayes and 2 noes.
Bill moves on to calendar rules. Item number 7, House Bill 2077 by Chairman Faison. Got a proper motion and second. Chairman Faison, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee, last year, the General Assembly put the Human Rights Commission under the Attorney General's office. Historically, our Attorney General's office does not promulgate rules under the United Administrative Procedures Act. There are rules that need to be promulgated or enacted that deal with keeping complaints that have been filed confidential. This bill basically just codifies exactly how the Human Rights Commission handled complaints and keeping them private, and codifies it into law instead of into rules, so the Attorney General can abide by the same way that they did it there.
You heard the explanation of the sponsor. Are there any questions for the sponsor? Representative Dixie.
If we're making this to do something that the Human Rights Commission was doing before we make this change, then what was the purpose of making this change?
Chairman Faison.
To change it into the Attorney General's office.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Dixie, I can't speak to exactly the reasons why that took place last year. That was a bill last year. This is a cleanup from the law that we passed last year.
Representative Dixie for a follow-up.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor of House Bill 2077, moving on to government operations, please vote yes on the board. Opposed, vote no. Madam Clerk, open the board for voting. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, close the board, announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 19 ayes and 4 noes.
Bill moves on to government operations. Senate Joint Resolution 0204. Chairman Sapicki, do I have a proper motion? And second, Chairman Sapicki, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This recognizes the Christian Heritage Flag as the official flag representing the Christian Heritage Month in the state of Tennessee. That's what it does, Mr. Chairman.
You've heard the explanation of the sponsors. Are there any questions? Representative Martin.
Thank you, and thank you, sponsor. I can't vote for your bill, and I would encourage my colleagues to vote against it. And I want to tell you why. Because when this thing says that the faith and community leaders around Tennessee created the Christian Heritage Flag, nobody included my pastor or the leaders in my church. And when it says it's flown proudly by Tennesseans during the month of November, I would encourage all of you who name the name of Christ to know that Jesus wants 12 months, not 1. And when it says over here in the very last, this is what bothers me the most. Whereas when flying the flag, individuals should remember to submit their lives to the Lord Jesus Christ for his work and service. I don't think we need to trade the sacred of something spiritual for something as common as a cloth, a flag that I've never seen. I know it's described. I know the Vacation Bible School flag, and this is virtue signaling at its best. And I'm going to tell you, for me, I need the Holy Spirit to remind me to walk with God, not a flag. And I understand the intent, and I respect it, and I appreciate it, but I can't vote for it because my faith means too much to me to let it be taken down to a flag or taken down to a month. And I would encourage my colleagues, with all due respect, to consider your conscience, and everyone vote their conscience. But I want to put on record, Mr. Chairman, why I will not be voting for this, because my faith means more than a flag. Thank you.
Representative Mitchell.
what Representative Martin said.
Any other questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, we're ready to, let's see. Do we have someone here to testify on this? Okay. Without objection, we have some guests. I'm going to go out of session. We are now out of session. Ricky Dare and Eric May, will you all please come to the tables? I know I butchered that last name, y'all. You'll have to straighten it out for me. Please have a seat. We'll control your microphones. And just give us your name and who you're with, and you will have 3 minutes apiece.
Thanks so much, Ricky Dar. I've got an organization called Revive the City. We do a lot of campus ministries on Middle Tennessee campuses and do some legislative projects as well. I busted my kids out of school to check out the legislative process today. Y'all can go ahead and hold up the flag.
I'm
Is that
sorry.
okay? I'm sorry if that's okay.
I'm sorry, Ricky. We don't allow props.
For sure.
Okay.
So just a little bit of a history to this. So I helped create the flag on my friend Eric here. Also, some other folks from the frequent this legislature here, like my friend Marlene Tidwell from the Tennessee Prayer Caucus, Bobby Petray from the Eagle Forum. And we all had one thing in common. We were working on the Christian Heritage Fest to celebrate the newly minted Christian Heritage Month in November. And as we were working on this, we had an idea for a flag. And so we looked up, is there a Christian Heritage flag? And there wasn't. There's a Christian flag. You guys might be aware of the Christian flag. There's flags for a lot of things. But nothing that we felt grabbed that historical depth and that apologetic foundation. So we began just putting ideas together. And we felt as we kept putting ideas together that it became more and more special. And as we were on different platforms sharing the event, we brought the flag with us. We were on the Chris Hand Show, 99.7. We brought the flag, and he said he'd hang it up in his studio. I was on the Today Show in Nashville and shared it with the viewers. We began getting requests for it from around the state, and we sent it out to people for free. We gave it out for free during the event. And my friend Tim Bamman told me that his dad, a retired Metro police officer, flies it year-round at his house. It just seemed to turn out to be a very just memorial and special symbol. And I appreciate Senator Hensley passing that last session and then Representative Cepic carrying it this session. So.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, Eric Made, thank you for the opportunity to speak to y'all. And I echo what the other chairman committee members have said. I too don't need 1 month or a flag to honor God. We just so happened in the state of Tennessee, which I think is a cool thing. As far as I know, it's one of the only states that have recognized a month to be a Christian Heritage Month. And with that, we just wanted to simply have another symbol to go along with that month that y'all have already voted in to be represent Christian Heritage Month. So I don't need a flag or a month. I serve God every day, just like the comments were made as well. And I don't need a flag either. But it is a good thing, just like on the 4th of July is a time where everybody pulls out their flag and shows their support for the United States of America. That's all this is. It's an opportunity to have something, a symbol, something to honor and support, to honor God with in support of the Christian Heritage Month. And we just got together. We prayed about it. We came up with what we believed was some colors and a thing that would outside, not to compete with the Christian flag, but just to demonstrate the heritage. We have the 12, the Old Testament, New Testament, the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 disciples, and then we have the cross in the middle. And it was just something that we thought would go along with Christian Heritage Month that we could fly in honor. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate you all being here today. Does any of the members have any questions for our guest, Representative Dixie?
I know we've said a lot about symbols and flags and things of that nature, but those symbols and objects, they have meanings for different people. You wouldn't walk around here probably, maybe some of you would, with Confederate flags. You would do that to what that imagery brings to some people on here and the hurtful nature of this. But I'll just, quick question for you guys. Are you Christian nationalists?
You're all recognized?
No.
Christian nationalists, what does that mean? I'm sorry.
Representative Dixie.
If you don't know, then I don't know. So
Okay.
I'll take
All
your
right.
answer as yes, but thank you.
Yeah,
Representative Mitchell.
Yeah, I'm just doing a little thought pattern of here. The last time Christianity had a flags and really, waved a flag, it was between the years 1095 and 1291. It was called the Crusades, and a lot of people were just slaughtered in the name of our faith, our Christianity. And, I don't think we need a flag, whether it be a flag to wave or a battle flag. I've said many times before, we do a lot of things down here, in the name of Christianity. Well, I've said it many times. My God doesn't fit in those little green books. He's bigger than that. And I know he's bigger than a piece of cloth and a flag.
Yes, go ahead.
So I go to Washington, D.C. about monthly for a bill, a Screen Act, is an anti-pornography bill. I remember I worked with my friend Rick up there on a state bill a couple of years ago. It's to protect children from pornography online. We have a ministry there as well, where we have Democrat staff members, Republican staff members. They come, we preach the gospel, we feed them, break out into small groups. It's truly an amazing time of stuff we do on college campuses. When we're walking the halls of Congress, typically there's 2 or 3 flags flown. The Republicans fly typically the U.S. and the state flag, and the Democrats, half of them fly that along with the pride flag. And as we were working on this flag and we got requests for it, I realized that the minimum we can invite the Tennessee congressional delegation to fly it, kind of a thing. And I'm proud of it from what it stood for and the people that put their mind and heart behind the flag. But ultimately, it's your vote, but I certainly hope you do.
All right. Let me remind, we have some more people on the list to speak. I want you to make sure your questions is for the guest and their presentation, or are you wanting to speak to the sponsor of the bill? Okay, Powell, go ahead.
So a question for you. So I'm actually part of the 2026 resolution. I've been actually going back and reading the Bible. Start off with the New Testament, and I've made my way through Luke, Acts, Mark, now in Matthew. And I was actually remembering this because I just read this. And my concern with the bill is, and I'd love your response here, but is Matthew chapter 22, verse 21. Render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's. To me, this diminishes the role of faith in our lives. And I don't think government has a place in the sacred space of my religious beliefs. So happy to have your response, but that's, my concern with this.
This started, look, we're not trying to push anything out of the ordinary. This started because we were all excited about the Christian Heritage Month in November. I thought that was a great resolution you guys passed. And this seemed to take off kind of naturally behind it. So we thought we'd link up the two. I was proud of the people that put their heart behind it and the response from the state and what I heard. So we brought it to my representative, my senator, to take it up. Ultimately, it's y'all's choice. But I'll tell you, when I fly it, it's going to be for those reasons that I'm proud to love the Lord and to serve the Lord. And I'm happy to hear about your resolution beginning of the year. That's great. That's great to hear.
Next on our list is Representative Salinas.
Yeah. What Christian denominations did you work with to come up with the flag?
You're recognized.
Can you name them?
I can say that I can talk to you about the leaders. And I think that, or should I say the event coordinators, input for some others. I couldn't tell you what denominations they represent, but I could tell you that it's a collection. I would say a collection of denominations. We all go to different churches.
Any other questions for our guest, Representative Salinas?
Yeah, because if it's something that's supposed to be representative of Christianity, I would like to think that you would be inclusive of all denominations. Christianity is one of the faiths that has the most branches, the most denominations, and I don't think you can distill everything that our faith stands for as Christians, for example, I'm Catholic, into a piece of cloth. And so I'm from Shelby County. We have 2 congressmen in our delegation, and 1 Republican, 1 Democrat. Both of them are Jewish. So you asked our Jewish members to fly a Christian flag? Because to me, that's a bit disrespectful.
You're recognized.
Those who want to recognize the month, the Christian Heritage Month. So it's not for, I mean, I would love for everybody to be a Christian, but I mean, it's not for those who don't subscribe to the religion. So.
Representative Salinas.
You said you asked the Tennessee delegation to fly the Christian Heritage flag.
Not yet. Not yet. When we go back to our ministry, and as it starts to approach November, and to see how this does, we were going to ask the Tennessee congressional delegation. We've got a few relationships there. So,
Any other questions for our guest? Seeing none, thank you all for being with us today. Without objection, we'll go back in session. We're back in session, and I'll recognize Representative McCallum.
Thank you, Chairman. Move previous question.
Previous question's been called. We're ready to vote on Senate Joint Resolution 0204. Moving on to calendar rules. Please vote yes on the board if you agree, no if you oppose. Madam Clerk, open the board for voting. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, you will close the board and announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 13 ayes and 8 noes.
Bill moves on to calendar rules. Before we take up item number 9, I need to, Representative Rudder had to leave, and so she is excused. All right, back to House Bill 9. House Bill number 1474, item 9. Do I have a motion? Motion. Proper motion. Is there a second? Second. Properly seconded. Representative Bolso, you're recognized on House Bill 1474.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, members of the committee. This bill has its genesis in complaints that I received from parents of students in our school district who objected to pride flags being displayed in classrooms at one of our middle schools and one of our high schools in Williamson County. The bill, if enacted, would prohibit pride flags, pride emblems from being displayed in school buildings or other government buildings. It would also make it clear that no school or no other government agency could adopt a Pride Month or a Pride Week during the course of a school year or a regular calendar year. And that, Mr. Chairman, is what the bill does.
You've heard the explanation of the sponsor. Are there any questions for the sponsor? Representative Mitchell.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, I was elected as state representative. I chose to run for office to want to help people, to want to do things that are good for people. I didn't come down here say, who can I poke in the eye today? Who can I put in their place today? Who can I step on today? Who can I let them know that I'm bigger than today? I don't know. It just seems sad. It more than just make me mad. It's just really sad. Just legislation after legislation after legislation. Like do some legislation to help people. Do something like feed a child, educate a child, build a road, create a job. But just these hate bills, one after another, that doesn't it just get to you? Don't you when you lay down at sleep at night, doesn't it bother you at all? I mean, I just get so sick of over and over and over the hate. God help you.
Representative Dixie. Chairman Bolso, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm happy to overlook the impertinence of those remarks and to say simply that I think we can all agree that the classroom is no place for political flags of any kind. And we have parents who are concerned legitimately about kids being indoctrinated in our public schools. And when they bring proposals for legislation to me as their elected representative, I'm very happy to support them because I agree that political flags do not belong in our classrooms or on our government buildings. I mean, recall, Representative, how you must have felt in June of 2023 when President Biden draped the pride flag over the Truman balcony on the south portico of the White House, our most iconic government structure in the country. I found that offensive. I found that very exclusive. That is a flag that represents transgender rights. It represents marriage of individuals of the same sex. It represents other non-gender conforming behavior that most Tennesseans disagree with. And so I'm very proud to bring this legislation to represent parents who object to these kind of images being displayed against their will to their children at school.
Representative Mitchell for a follow-up.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you were offended by Biden and holding a flag. I hope if Biden offended you by that flag, I hope the multiple times of your current president being convicted in civil and criminal court, or him being in the Epstein files, I hope you're similarly embarrassed.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Members, please control yourselves. We are setting example for a lot of people in this state. So I will not tolerate a running debate, and we're real close. Representative Salinas, you're recognized.
Thank you. And I know I've asked some of these questions in subcommittee, and it doesn't seem like there have been any changes to the bill because the bill still says emblem. And the rainbow, as you admitted in the subcommittee, is used by many different organizations, religious institutions, many examples. So how would you differentiate a gay rainbow from a crucista rainbow from a rainbow baby and women that have had miscarriages displaying rainbows? How would you differentiate those emblems from each other?
Chairman Bolso.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me, if I could, Representative Salinas, address that in two ways. First, a flag obviously is something that typically is flown, is capable of being displayed on a pole. An emblem is something that could be the same image as a flag, but it's something that, could be set on a desk or worn or something of that nature. And when you get down to precisely what the images are, I think Section 15-3-102A1 does a very good job of listing specifically the flags or emblems that the bill covers. And obviously, the rainbow flag is a flag that depicts colors of the rainbow as horizontal stripes and any variations of the design. The transgender flag, subsection D, consists of 2 light blue stripes, 2 pink stripes, and a white stripe in the center. So the bill's very specific as to what images or flags are prohibited.
Representative Warner. You got to raise your hand. I can't see if you don't raise your hand. You're recognized.
Question on the bill.
No, I just recognized Salinas.
You recognize?
Yeah, I did, but she had her hand raised apparently, and I didn't see it. So Representative Salinas, you're recognized.
So on your bill, if an employee were to display a rainbow, it wouldn't go against it because it's not a flag.
Chairman Bolso.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I mean, a rainbow itself is something that is different from an LGBTQ flag or an emblem. And the bill, I think, makes that point very clear.
Okay, Representative Warner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question on the bill.
Previous question has been called. Okay, I see two. We're ready to move forward. All those in favor of moving House Bill 1474 on judiciary, please vote yes on the board. Those opposed, vote no. Madam Clerk, you'll open the board for voting. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, close the board, announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 16 ayes and 6 noes.
Bill moves on to judiciary. You're out of here. You're out of here.
You're a liar. You know I signed up for testimony. Shame on you. Shame on this whole body. You know better than to treat democracy like this. Shameful.
Next on the list is item number 10, House Bill 1479. Do I have a motion? Proper motion and second. Chairman Bolso, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, this bill does one thing. It designates November 2 on our official state calendar as a special day of observance for James K. Polk, who all of you know as our 11th president, but also as our 11th governor. We already, in the Blue Book, have a day set aside as a special observance for President Andrew Jackson, our 7th president, but we do not yet have one for James K. Polk, our 11th president, and this bill will correct that omission and put James K. Polk in our Blue Book on November 2nd as a special day of observance.
You've heard the explanation of the sponsor. Are there any questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, we're ready to vote on House Bill 1479. Moving on to calendar and rules. All those in favor, please vote yes on the board. Opposed, no. Madam Clerk, open the board for voting. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, close the board, announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 16 ayes and 6 noes.
Bill moves on to calendar and rules. Next on today's agenda, item 11, House Bill 1467. Got a proper motion and second. Is Rebecca with us? Okay. Representative Alexander, you're recognized on House Bill 1467.
And thank you, committee. This bill streamlines TEMA's process for administering disaster grants. In 2024, Hurricane Helene caused widespread destruction to Northeast Tennessee, to homes and businesses, and left many families and communities in a state of crisis. In the wake of that storm, it became very clear that existing state procurement requirements can create unnecessary delays in delivering critical disaster relief money. So this bill exempts disaster grants administered by TEMA from existing procurement requirements, and this will ensure that communities affected by a disaster get relief as fast as possible. Let me go back and tell you that when this was going on and when we were meeting with the Northeast Tennessee delegation along with TEMA, along with the comptroller's office, we realized the problem to follow the normal procurement requirements was tying up ridiculous amounts of time in our counties, those who really needed it, the ones who couldn't afford to borrow money because they were afraid they couldn't pay it back. Those counties desperately needed their money quickly. And so we don't want, this probably will never help us in Northeast Tennessee where the disaster hit, but it will help future disasters that will come along in this state, in perhaps your county. So I just ask that you give a positive vote for this bill. It's very important.
Explanation of the sponsor. Is there any questions for the sponsor? Representative Butler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Does this bill lower any of the thresholds? I think it's 13 million, some random odd number, to trigger TEMA help. We've
Representative Alexander.
Sorry. Thank you, Chairman. No, it does not.
Thank you. That's all I need.
Representative Warner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, sponsor. I really like your idea here. I think that what happened in Northeast Tennessee, you know, was just terrible, and we should do everything we can to help those folks and make sure that it's done in a timely manner. The concern I got, you talk about the procurement. You're basically, we're going to allow contractors to come in there on a no bid basis. Is that basically what this bill is doing?
Chairman Alexander.
Thank you, Chairman. No, sir, it does not. There'll be still the same requirements to do, but it's just, if you all could have seen it, it was a whole page of nothing but we go to this, we do this, then we go back down here and we've got to do that. Then we go up here and we've got to do this, then we got to come back and down and do that. And then if we mess up, we got to start all over again. It's nothing that there are still the checks and balances that the comptroller's office requires. And the funding was already there. The money was there. We just need a way to be able to get it out of this state and get it into the hands of the people that need it.
Representative Warner, you have follow-up?
So it's correct to say that there will be a bidding process still in place, right?
Representative Alexander.
I'm sorry, sir. That is correct.
Any other questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, we're ready to vote on House Bill 1467. Moving on to calendar and rules. All in favor, please vote yes on the board. If you're opposed, vote no. Madam Clerk, open the board for voting. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, close the board and announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 20 ayes and 0 noes.
Bill moves on to calendar and rules. House Bill 1553 by Representative Lynn. We got a proper motion and second. And Representative Lynn, I do see that you have an amendment. Would you please give us your drafting code?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's 013368.
That is correct. Would you like us to place the amendment on the bill for discussion?
Yes, sir. It
We do
rewrites
have
the
a
bill.
proper motion and second. All those in favor of placing amendment 13368 onto House Bill 1553, please say aye. Opposed, no. Your bill's now amended. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill is from the Secretary of State's office, and it simplifies two processes for charities. Currently, when a charity stops raising funds in our state, it has to notify the Secretary of State within 30 days and then file financial documents within 90 days. This bill is going to align those dates so that both can be done at the same time, basically within 90 days. We amended the bill to make a minor change in this section, and that's what the amendment did after discussion with Representative Leatherwood, and the Secretary felt like that was a good change. This bill also removes a duplicative fee required to shut down a nonprofit organization. To shut down a nonprofit organization, the entity must first file articles of dissolution to initiate what is called the wind-up phase. There is a $20 statutory fee for filing the articles of dissolution. And during this wind-up phase, the nonprofit notifies the Attorney General, pays its debts, and distributes any remaining assets. After completing the wind-up process, the nonprofit then has to file articles of termination to notify the public that the nonprofit will no longer exist. And there is an additional $20 filing fee for these articles of termination. And what the Secretary found was, well, they'd already distributed all the money and there was no money left to pay that last $20 fee. So what they decided to do was do away with one of those $20 fees, and there will no longer be a problem because they've already gotten rid of all the money. So that's our Secretary of State. He's always trying to think of ways to help people out in our state, especially charities, and that's what this bill does.
You've heard the explanation of the sponsor. Any questions for the sponsor? Representative McCalman.
Thank you, Chairman. Move previous question.
Previous question has been called. We're ready to vote on House Bill 1553, moving on to Finance, Ways and Means. All those in favor, please vote yes on the board. If you're opposed, vote no. Madam Clerk, open the board for voting. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, close the board and announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 22 ayes and 0 noes.
Bill moves on to Finance, Ways and Means. Item 14. Do we want, okay. We'll go ahead and get item 13. This is House Bill 1799 by Representative Darby. We got a proper motion in second. Representative Darby, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. This is a cleanup bill by the comptroller. This bill will delete duplicate reports by the comptroller regarding broadband services and the Tennessee Helping Heroes Scholarship Program. And it will also revise the information that is required to submit regarding property tax relief program.
The explanation of the sponsor. Any questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, we're ready to vote on House Bill 1799. Moving on to calendar and rules. All those in favor, please vote yes on the board. If you're opposed, vote no. Madam Clerk, open the board for voting. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, close the board and announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 22 ayes and 0 noes.
Bill moves on to calendar and rules.
Item 15.
Okay. We're going to jump to item 15. This is Representative Stenett's bill. Hang on just a second. I think he is here. Okay. House Bill 1674 by Representative Stenett. Do I have a motion? Proper motion and second. Representative Stenett, you are recognized.
Thank you, Chairman, members. Bill 1674 comes from the Comptroller's Office, and it last year some language was updated in the law requiring the division of property assessment, and they realized that there was another place in the statute that needed to be read the same way, and all this bill does is correct that. There's no physical note and there's no amendment. I stand for questions.
You've heard the explanation of the sponsor. Any questions? Chair will take privilege here. You look a little peaked. Are you okay?
Feel better.
Okay. Is that the same tie you wore in your campaign picture?
No.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to check on you a little bit. We're ready to vote on House Bill 1674, moving on to calendar and rules. All those in favor, please vote yes on the board. Opposed, vote no. Madam Clerk, open the board for voting. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, close the board and announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 20 ayes and 1 no.
Bill moves on to calendar and rules. Hope you get to film better, buddy. House Bill 1526. Proper motion and second. This is you too. Do we need to get you a chair to sit down in, or?
If you don't mind.
Okay, we've got a proper motion in second. Representative Stenett, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Chairman. 1526 is, we've had 3 National Guard armories in Blount County over the years. We've never named one of them, and the Veterans Committee has came up with a name to put on our last one, the building that's been built. And it's Command Sergeant Major William O. Gregory. He has served in all 3 of the buildings, and he spent 41 years of his life in the National Guard. So my bill is to okay the naming of this building after him. And there is a physical note of $8,000.
You've heard the explanation of the sponsor. Are there any questions for the sponsor? Representative Butler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Move previous question.
Previous question's been called. We're ready to vote on House Bill 1526, moving on to Finance, Ways and Means. All those in favor, please vote yes on the board. If you're opposed, vote no. Madam Clerk, open the board for voting. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, close the board, announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 20 ayes and 0 noes.
Bill moves on to Finance, Ways and Means. Okay, we're going to jump back to item 14, House Bill 1672 by Representative Jones. Proper motion and second. Representative Jones, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a comptroller's bill that makes government better in 2 ways. The first is that this bill would allow the comptroller to approve emergency operating loans for local governments in a natural disaster without waiting for FEMA to declare a disaster. As we all know, that it's very important that we can get the money for our disasters, whether it was the flood in East Tennessee or the ice storm that we just had here in Nashville, being able to get those funds immediately to make sure we can get our citizens back on track is imperative. So this would allow that to happen. It also would allow local governments to use other revenue sources to repay grant anticipation loans, preventing unnecessary expenses when grant reimbursements are late. So with that, I stand for question.
Great bill. You've heard the explanation of the sponsors. Are there any questions? Representative Powers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Move previous question.
Previous question's been called. We're ready to vote on House Bill 1672. Moving on to Finance, Ways and Means. If you're in favor, please vote yes on the board. If you're opposed, vote no. Madam Clerk, open the board for voting. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, close the board and announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 20 ayes and 1 present not voting.
Bill moves on to Finance, Ways and Means. Item 17. This is House Bill 1771 by Representative Raper. We've got a proper motion and second. I do see that we have an amendment. Can you please give us your drafting code?
Yes, sir. 012578.
That is correct. Would you like us to place the amendment on the bill for discussion?
Yes, sir.
All right, we've got a proper motion and second on the amendment. All those in favor of placing Amendment 1257-8 onto House Bill 1771, please say aye. Opposed, no. Bill's now amended. You're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee. House Bill 1771 ensures that every incarcerated Tennessean is annually assessed and informed about their pathway to educational advancement, fostering rehab, and successful reentry. By requiring regular assessments and timely notification of educational programs, this bill encourages incarcerated individuals to pursue an education. National research by the RAND Corporation found that participation in educational programs while in prison lowers the odds of recidivism by nearly 50%. This bill ensures incarcerated individuals are equipped with educational credentials and skills needed for employment and social reintegration, increasing stability and reducing barriers to becoming a productive member of society after release. Finally, improving correctional education has ripple effects throughout the society, including a stronger workforce, fewer barriers to employ for formerly incarcerated people, and reduced burdens on public systems due to lower recidivism rates. I stand and ready for questions.
You've heard the explanation of the sponsor. Any questions for the sponsor? Representative Dixie.
Thank you. Mr. Sponsor, so you said, so right now there's a mechanism for us to figure out or determine how many incarcerated people do not have high school diplomas or what grade level they completed in.
Representative Raper, you're recognized.
I'm sorry. That is correct, yes. And would you like me to elaborate one second? Also, I will say this, that if an inmate did not want this information, it just sits there because they can refuse if they want to, so.
Representative Dixie, you got a follow-up?
Yeah, so it's not mandating that they take action in these courts. So this is kind of like a transparency bill with the educational system in our correctional system.
Representative Raper.
Mr. Chair, and you are correct, it's not mandated at all.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we're ready to vote on House Bill 1771. Moving on to calendar and rules. All those in favor, please vote yes on the board. Opposed, vote no. Madam Clerk, open the board for voting. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? You good? Madam Clerk, close the board and announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 22 ayes and 0 noes.
Bill moves on to calendar and rules. Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're getting really close on time. So the members that are here, if you could all go up here on the front row, then I'm going to make sure you all get heard. Next bill is Representative Hakeem, House Bill 1687. Got a proper motion and second? You're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. This legislation updates
Larry
the property value cap.
No, Moon's in front of you.
Go ahead. Okay. This legislation updates the property value cap used to calculate state reimbursement for disabled veteran property tax relief, increasing it from $175,000 to $200,000 of the home's full market value. The property value cap used for reimbursement has remained fixed at $175,000 as property values rise across the state. Disabled veterans are shouldering a greater portion of their local property tax burden, even though the structure of the program has not changed. This bill simply updates the reimbursement calculation to better reflect current market conditions. For service persons who have acquired 100% disability, as determined by the Department of Veteran Affairs. This is a modest, data-supported adjustment that helps ensure disabled veterans' property tax relief keeps pace with today's housing market. With this, Mr. Chairman, I ask for support.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for the sponsor? We have Chairman Moon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to the sponsor. Is this also included with the seniors, this property tax credit? I'm all in favor of what this bill is asking, but I'm also curious as if under the same title in chapter, if seniors are also included.
Representative Hakeem.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe this may be what you're talking about. This is a state-funded reimbursement program that no direct physical impact on cities or counties. Local governments continue to assess and collect property taxes as they do today. Now, to my knowledge, it doesn't say senior citizens. Is that what you're asking?
Chairman Moon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and that's correct. I know looking at the graphs, this reimbursement credit has been almost exponential for veterans and has remained somewhat stable for seniors. So my question was, does this also change the market value assessment for senior citizens qualifying? Legal shaking their head no. So I have my question answered. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Next on today's list is Representative Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Call for previous question.
Previous question has been called. We're ready to vote on House Bill 1687. Moving on to Finance, Ways and Means. All those in favor, please vote yes on the board. Opposed, vote no. Madam Clerk, open the board for voting. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, close the board and announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 22 ayes and 0 noes.
Bill moves on to Finance, Ways and Means. Item 19, House Joint Resolution 0790 by Representative Ashley. Got a proper motion and second. Representative Ashley, if you can get to the podium a little quicker, we'll recognize you. Go ahead.
I apologize for my slowness, Mr. Chairman. I'll try to make this quick. This House Joint Resolution just simply recognizes the fire service in the state of Tennessee as an essential service. And that's exactly what this does.
You've heard the go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh.
Okay. You've heard the explanation of the sponsor. Any questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, without objection, we're ready to vote on House Joint Resolution 0790. Moving on to calendar and rules. All those in favor, please vote yes on the board. Opposed, vote no. Madam Clerk, open the board for voting. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, close the board and announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 22 ayes and 0 noes.
Your bill moves on to calendar and rules. House Bill 1720 by Chairman Hicks. Got a proper motion and second. Chairman Hicks, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 1720 will allow county governments to take back the authority of planning and zoning inside the urban growth boundary if the property is inside the county. This bill simply lets county legislative body decide by majority vote in a public meeting whether planning and zoning in the unincorporated urban growth boundaries should be handled locally by the county or continue under the regional body. This means the people who vote for the county commissioners will also be the ones whose elected officials control their zoning. This bill is permissive. If a county is satisfied with what they're doing, then things can stay the way that they are. This bill also does not prohibit a county or a municipality from entering into a local agreement if they need to. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and that's the bill, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
You've heard the explanation of the sponsor. Is there any questions? Chairman Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Representative Hicks, thank you for this bill. You and I have talked about it several times over coffee, and I think it's a really good bill. This is a classic example in some cases of having to go by a rule of law with no representation. And that's what's happening in some areas where there is a growth pattern that you and I have talked about. But they're having to build by city codes, but they're in the county. And if they're in the county, I think they ought to be able to build by county codes. So I appreciate you bringing this bill. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Moon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just have one question. Why is Moore County, Trisdale, Hamilton, Knox, Davis, and Shelby not included? Because I totally support this legislation, and I wonder why those counties are not covered by this legislation.
Chairman Hicks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Those counties are larger counties with more population. A lot of them are metro, and they run a little bit different government than your typical cities and counties do across the state. And they get loud on issues like this. So I just sort of left them out, and that was intended to be that way.
Representative McCalman.
Thank you, Chairman. Previous question.
Previous question's been called. Without objection, we're ready to vote on House Bill 1720, moving on to Finance, Ways and Means. If you're in favor, please vote yes on the board. If you're opposed, vote no. Madam Clerk, open the board for voting. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, you will close the board and announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 22 ayes and 0 noes.
Bill moves on to Finance, Ways and Means. Next is House Bill 0957 by Representative Slater. Got a proper motion and second, Representative Slater. I do see we have an amendment on this bill. Please give us your drafting code.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That is 013041.
That is correct. Would you like us to place it on the bill for discussion?
Yes, please.
Without objection, we are ready to vote on amendment number 13041 going on to House Bill 0957. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. You are recognized on your amended bill, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee. House Bill 957 adds foster parents to the state's existing paid parental leave policy for state government employees and includes guardrails to ensure the leave is used appropriately. Very important in understanding this bill is that this bill does not increase the amount of paid leave beyond what is in current law. 6 weeks is still the maximum amount of leave that an employee can take in a 12-month period, regardless of the reason for the leave. And for that, I stand ready for questions.
You've heard the explanation of the sponsor. Is there any questions for the sponsor? Representative Leatherwood, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And looking over this bill and the amendment, this bill is substantially the same bill that I wasn't sure if it was a year or two ago that actually failed on the floor of the House. It got out of committee and failed on the floor of the House. This is substantially the same bill. While I understand what is being attempted here, as someone, my wife and family and I have been foster parents. We did volunteer fostering, and out of my 5 daughters, 2 of them have actually been adopted, as part of the fostering program. People come into your family and you fall in love. Next thing you know, you've got another child. But having said that, I had concerns when the bill was before us before, and I still do now. In Tennessee, children can start school at 3 under some conditions. And of course, they all eventually end up going to school. And this concerns me that we are giving this time off. 6 weeks, I understand you need some bonding and so forth, but when the child goes to school, which is mandatory, couldn't the parents go on to work at that time? Again, we've fostered and been through adoption, and neither my wife nor I had to take time off to do that. We had the accommodations for the children as it was. Also, I don't know about others on this committee, but in high school, I worked. And so when I went to work, couldn't the fostering parents or parents go to work as well? Or are we letting them off work for 6 weeks so they could visit me in high school when I went to work? So, I understand we need more foster parents, but it ought to be a matter of the heart, not the wallet, and I think it is with people. But beyond that, this didn't make sense to me when we brought it up before, and it did fail on the floor of the House. And it doesn't make sense to me now when we're saying a minor, which is up to age 18. I understand a newborn, which can be very demanding. But anyway, those are my concerns with the bill, and wonder how you would address those.
Representative Slater, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for your comments, Representative, and thank you and your wife for fostering. And hopefully this legislation will encourage our state employees to foster children who are in the state's care and wards of the state. So hopefully this bill will do that. I would mention 2 items. First of all, this does not add anything, and I think perhaps that was the confusion, and you're correct. This is basically the same bill. There was confusion on the floor of the House. I apologize for any confusion for being as the sponsor, but I think the confusion had to do with, would this add to the amount of time paid leave? As you'll see in the fiscal memo, you'll notice that it's not significant. The reason that it's not significant is because this is already figured in. This 6 weeks is already figured in when it comes to FMLA, the Family Medical Leave Act, which is federal law. So it doesn't expand anything. It's nothing more on the wallet because it's already in law. And then I'd make just one other point. This applies to, of course, foster children. It also applies to those that are live birth and then adoption. Well, there are some folks who, when they give birth to a baby, they need 3 weeks, some 4, some 5, some 6. The same is true when it comes to adoption, and it's especially true when it comes to foster care. Fortunately for you and your wife, it was a smooth transition, both for your family and for the child being fostered, but that's not always the case. And there are guardrails in here so that our state employees would not take advantage of this paid leave. And so with that, I stand ready for any other questions.
Representative Leatherwood for a follow-up.
Yes, I don't believe there was confusion, at least there wasn't with me before, on whether this was adding time or not. So it wasn't a matter of confusion. It was a matter of deciding what we will allot the time to. And as I said before, giving birth to a newborn, I fully understand. There's a physical aspect of giving birth, and newborn babies, anybody that's had one knows this is true, are the most demanding creatures that will ever enter your life, keeping you up all night. They need so I understand with newborns, but that's not what this is. This is minor children up to age 18 who, again, all are going to be going to school and out of the house by state law. And many, like myself and maybe others here, are going to be going to work during the day. So that's why I opposed it before. And maybe it'll be caught in committee this time. Maybe it'll go to the floor. Maybe it'll become law. I don't know. But it wasn't a matter of confusion on, as you stated.
Representative Carringer.
Thank you, Chairman, for bringing this bill. Can you, I've got some statements and then I've got a question, but right off, I'm going to ask you the question. Can you reemphasize what we passed last year and what our state law says now about state employees having the time off? Or
Representative Slater, you're recognized.
Yes, in 2023, the General Assembly took the important step of enacting paid parental leave for state employees who welcome a new child through birth or adoption, but foster parents were left out of that.
Representative Carringer.
correct, and I think you had answered that before. And then last year, we added family members' serious health issues. And so since I've been at the General Assembly, Tennessee has been pushing hard to try to get more adoptions of foster parents, both, either or. So as you said, it doesn't really have any big physical impact on it because we have all the other ones covered. And I had friends, I've had several friends that have adopted children out of foster care or been foster parents. And you are correct, because as I believe that every child is different. I mean, every child has different needs, have the same parents or whatever, they have different needs. And so what I've seen from children who have been in foster care, they have a lot of different needs, and they were going and taking them to physical therapy. They were taking them to all kinds of doctor's appointments and all. So it did take a lot of their time off from work. So, and it depends on the age. I'm not disagreeing with my colleague here. I mean, all children at a certain level of what we need to do. So I'll be supporting it because we as a state are encouraging people to be foster parents, and hopefully that they will adopt children. And there are a lot of different needs with them. So every child could be a lot more where parents would have to take time off. So thank you very much for it.
Members, just a reminder, we've got a hard stop in about 3 minutes. So Representative Moon, you are recognized.
Thank you, Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And members, what we're speaking of, these children are different. They're wards of the state. The state's putting them there. And there's policies and procedures, doctor's appointments, dental appointments, parent-teacher meetings. Remember that when you vote. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative McCalman.
Thank you, Chairman. Move previous question.
Previous question's been called. We are ready to vote on House Bill 0957. Moving on to calendar and rules. If you're in favor, vote yes on the board. Opposed, vote no. Madam Clerk, open the board for voting. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, close the board and announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 20 ayes and 1 no.
Bill moves on to calendar and rules. All right. Chairman Wright, for what reason?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As we draw to a close on this meeting, if it may assist the committee, I move that the committee leadership have the option to formulate a consent calendar to be used in addition to the next regular calendar of this committee.
Got a proper motion and second. Is there any discussion? Representative Powell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is the first time hearing of this. Why would we have a consent calendar in this committee? I understand some people might try to be getting out of here quickly, but it's very important all the bills we hear come through the committee process, and I don't think it's sufficient to have a consent calendar. Could you please explain the reason for this motion?
We have used the consent calendar in the past. We did last year, but I'll recognize Chairman Wright to explain.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Any item on the consent calendar can be removed by any member and discussed on the regular floor.
Any other questions? Representative Powell.
On the floor, sir, or in this committee?
This floor.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor of us being able to use a consent calendar, please vote yes on the board. Opposed, no. Madam Clerk, open the board for voting. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, close the board and announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 17 ayes and 3 noes.
Motion passes. All right. All the bills that have not been heard today will be rolled to next week's calendar. Before I close. Okay, all bills that have not been heard today will be rolled 2 weeks. Okay. Before I close, does any of the members have any announcements or personal orders? Representative Moon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Cities and County Subcommittee will meet as soon as possible. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Proper motion. I need a second. Seconded. All in favor? We're adjourned. Bo got mad at me today.
After a